Yes, you guys, how you doing? I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lines TV, and welcome to another news daily video. Now for today's video, I'm going to be focusing on Hudson-Odoi reports, Neres links, Paris Saint-Germain interest in Kante, and I'm also going to be talking about Sarri and Juve interest. But before I get into anything, smash that like button, help me get more than 1,000 likes, and thank you to everyone that continuously shows their support by doing that. Don't forget to press the bell notification button either, and if you want more Blue Lines TV, in the cards above I'll have recommended videos for you guys, so don't worry, I've got you guys covered. Starting with the first report, I'll be talking about Hudson-Odoi and the recent developments on his contract situation. Now this story has been brought to you guys by the Mail, and they're suggesting that Chelsea are doing all they can to try and secure Hudson-Odoi on a permanent. They're even willing to give him the number 10 shirt. Now this is big, it's a huge symbolic act, and I think it's the right course of action by the club to really let Hudson-Odoi know just how much confidence the club have in him, and to give him that assurance that he is going to get that game time he needs. Now if you do remember what I said to you before, I haven't heard anything concrete on Hudson-Odoi's situation, but I did let you know that the club felt optimistic that Hudson-Odoi would sign a new contract, and I've also heard that there have been positive developments. Of course, when I say positive, it's stretching it in that sense, but I guess technically it's still a positive. I heard before that Hudson-Odoi's reps and his agent weren't really in communication with the club, but recently they have had slight discussions, nothing major so far, but it's a good first step. Now to give my thoughts and opinions, it's the right moves to make. 100%. We have to give Hudson-Odoi that confidence that yes, we have confidence in your abilities and we have confidence that you can become a top player for us, and all he wants is game time. That's all he's ever asked for. People were quite cynical when Bayern Munich were showing their interest. Of course it's still there, but it was cynical to think that Hudson-Odoi would be going there for the money. It's quite obvious that Bayern Munich were going to use him in their first team plans. He was going to be a replacement for Eva. He was going to be a replacement for Ribery. And come on, this ain't a guy that's come from Wrexham Youth Academy. He's come from Chelsea's Youth Academy. And we've had an ethos, a structure where we develop players mentally, tactically and physically. But on top of that, you need to have that ambition. There's not many kids that get to represent the Chelsea Youth Academy. So if you are, it means that you're a pretty good player. So it's only natural to think that a player that has confidence in his abilities and also is very talented as well wants to have that game time. I'm optimistic about his chances if Sarri's still here. Sarri did mention that Hudson-Odoi would play 30 to 35 games, and I do feel a bit more optimistic because before Hudson-Odoi's injury, he was in the first team on a regular basis. Now, it wasn't for too long, but he still made that step. And for me, that tells me that Sarri's seen a lot of things that he likes in the player. For me, it's not really a surprise that young players are going to be very adaptable to Sarri's demands. It's no surprise why some of the older experienced players have found it much harder transitioning to a new style of play. But when you consider that it didn't take Ruben or Hudson-Odoi too long to get into the team, well for me, it gives me that confidence that Sarri is really invested in these guys and he has big plans for them for next season. Hudson-Odoi needs to be that player that does replace Eden Hazard. If we turn to the market, how many players are available to replace Eden Hazard? There aren't any. Now that's not saying that we can't sign a Hazard-like figure, a Hazard-like talismanic figure for other positions, we can. But now that Hazard isn't there, the left wing spot is open, there's no better player for me than Hudson-Odoi. Now moving on to the second story, we have to talk about the David Neres links. Now this report has come from The Independent, and they're basically saying because it's looking like we're missing out on Luka Jovic, Chelsea have turned their attentions to Neres of Ajax. Now Neres has become a player who's in very high demand. Not only are we interested in the player, but also Liverpool, Paris Saint-Germain and Arsenal as well. Things do get a little bit interesting when you find out who the agent of Neres is, and it's none other than Bertolucci and Kia Jovic. They're the same guys that represent guys like David Luiz, and they represent guys like Willian and Oscar as well. And the report suggests that it's believed that they have a good relationship with the club, and it makes a lot of sense. We've signed so many of their clients before, it seems quite obvious. Now, what do I think about these links? I think to start off with, we have to talk about the player. Now, David Neres is a very sexy player, we can't deny that. So far he's had a good or a decent season for Ajax. He scored 12 goals, he's been very involved, especially in the latter half of the season. Very skillful. So for you guys that love FIFA, I can imagine that you're getting excited at the thought of Neres coming to the Premier League and you playing with that 5-star skill baller. Hey, that'll be fun to do. I think it's quite evident that he would fill a crucial role in this team, and it's one we've needed for so many years now. It's the right wing. We've needed a player that can cut inside with his left foot. Not only does that create different shooting opportunities, but it also creates different passing angles. And usually when a player's playing down that side, it means that they can move the ball a lot quicker. And I've always felt like our right hand side has been a bit weak over the past few years. But, and it's a big but, if we only had the choice to sign one player from Ajax, for me, there's only one guy. It's Ziyech. It has to be Ziyech. It makes too much sense. He's Ajax's best player. It's not as if he's like 30 years old. He's only 26, like 3-4 years older than Neres. He's a set-piece specialist. He runs like crazy. He presses very aggressively. His spatial awareness is amazing. He understands movement and where to be in. He's comfortable playing wide, in the half spaces and deeper as well. And when you realise that he's got a buyout clause of 25 million euros, it doesn't make any sense. You could activate it, cut out the club entirely, and get straight into negotiations. It's not that hard. I'm really hoping that if it comes down to it, because I think we have to accept that we're never going to have like a fantastic Galacticos season in the transfer window. We're not the type of club anymore to do that. It's going to take us a while to get back to those levels. But when you consider there's smart options on the market, like a Ziyech, he's able to play in midfield, he can play in advanced areas as well. He would just help the squad even more. And for me, if I had to pick between Neres or Ziyech, it's Ziyech all day long. Moving on to the third story for today. That's in regards to reports suggesting that Juventus are interested in looking at Sarri. Now, if you're not aware, Allegri has left Juventus. Allegri has announced that this is going to be his final season managing Juventus, and naturally Juventus needs to find a replacement for him. Now, these reports have been coming out from Italy, most notably from Alfredo Padula. I know to a lot of you guys, he's Mr. Sarri in the sense that he covered all the news surrounding him, but I can't lie you guys, a part of me is always going to feel like you heard a lot of this Sarri news first on this channel. But let's just move on because I'm acting a bit insecure. Juventus want to get a big name replacement to replace Allegri. Now, managers like Klopp, Pochettino and Pep have all been linked, as well as Sarri. Padula states that he feels that there's a 70% chance that Sarri could be leaving at the end of the season, even if we win the Europa League. Padula stated that Sarri would be perfect for Juventus because Juventus are using a 4-3-3. Sarri's a big advocate for that formation, and they feel like it only makes tactical sense to continue in that development. To end the report, Padula said that talks have been informal so far because both parties just want to get a feel for things. Now, given my opinion, when it comes to Sarri, as I've said before, I've heard so many conflicting takes, but it's always suggested that there is a possibility that Sarri could even leave on his own terms. We don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of factors in place that's really going to decide whether Sarri is going to stay or not. I think if he wins the Europa League, it's only going to help him. It could help him even more now because a lot of our best players aren't available to be selected. So in that sense, you can imagine that it's going to be like an underdog performance against Arsenal. Sarri is halfway through his contract so far. So if Juventus want him, they're going to have to cough up the money. It's as simple as that. For me personally, I would like Sarri to stay. If you want to hear more of my thoughts and opinions, I suggest you do watch my video where I talk about the Frank Lampard links. As I said in the video, I like Sarri to stay. But if he was to leave, the only guy that I'd be happy with would be Frank Lampard. But for me, I think Sarri, he has been unfairly criticised. There's been a lot of hypersensitive, reactive opinions on him, man. Don't worry, I'm going to have a lot of videos coming out just talking about Sarri in the season so far. And one thing to look forward to is, after our final, I'm going to have some notable members of the Chelsea community coming on for a Sarri debate where I'm going to have two sides discussing all of his pros, all of his cons. So I think you guys are definitely going to like it. But for me, I want to stick to thinking about our current manager in charge of us so far. And I do feel like Sarri has ended the season on a pretty positive note. I've seen a lot of improvements in a tactical sense. I've seen improvements in players' understanding of the system, where to be on the ball, where to be off the ball. We've seen some younger players coming in, and we've heard of reports of the loan army players that Sarri is really interested in working with again. So I think there's a lot of positives for next season when you consider that some of the guys not really suited to the style of football will be going in the summer window. There will be replacements for them. For me, it's always been a case of a lack of execution in the system. And just to wrap up this point, for me, if all of our best players were struggling in the system, similar to last season and similar to Mourinho's season as well, then I'd understand why Sarri should be really critiqued a lot more. Then I'd understand the frustration in fans when it comes to Sarri. But for me, I've seen our best players prosper. I've seen a Kante that's scoring more goals. I've seen one of Hazard's best seasons statistically. I've seen Ruben finally playing in his preferred position and really, playing in a system that gets the best out of him. And I've seen Jorginho just going about doing his thing. Now, if these players all struggled, yeah, I understand that maybe Sarri's position should be questioned, but for me, I still think there's a lot of positives. I'm still keeping that optimism, and I still think that Sarri is the right guy for us to get those foundations built. And to end things with a final story for today, that's in regards to Kante, and this report is coming from the Daily Mirror. They're suggesting that Paris Saint-Germain want to come back for Kante this summer. Now the report says that, of course, Paris Saint-Germain were interested in signing Idrissa Gueye from Everton, but Everton, and we know how stubborn they are, they don't want to play ball. They don't want to sell the player, and Paris Saint-Germain have decided, you know what, if we can't get Idrissa Gueye, it only makes sense to go for Kante again, even though we've been turned down time and time again. Now, in my opinion, can we afford to sell Hazard and Kante in one window? Oh, come on now. We're not doing that, regardless if Paris Saint-Germain came in with 150 million in cash, we're not going to do that. Kante plays a key part in this team, and his offensive numbers are improving a lot. And he has to get credit for that, and Sarri has to get credit for that as well. And for me personally, I'm excited to see how Kante is going to continue his development for next season. I mean, the guy's definitely a no-sell. Being hypothetical for a second, imagine if Sarri does go when this season's over. We bring in a new manager that has, attacking philosophies of his own. Kante is the type of player that can perform well in any system. I mean, you have a player that valuable and that world-class, you can't afford to get rid of him. If there was life after Sarri, you can guarantee that Kante is going to play a major role in any future manager's plans. Now for this season, Kante got 5 goals, 4 assists. Statistically, it's his best season, and you have to consider the fact that it's his first year of his development under Sarri, and already, statistically, he has outperformed Alan. Look at the stats. In Alan's best season, the 17-18 season, he got 4 goals and 5 assists in all competitions, and that took him about 3 seasons to reach. In Kante's first season, playing in a more advanced role with more attacking responsibilities, he scored 5 goals, 4 assists, and how many times has he missed easy chances in front of goal? The more times he gets in those positions, the better his confidence will be at scoring goals. And this sums up to me how much of a world-class player Kante is. One season, outperformed Alan, took him about 3 seasons to reach that level. Imagine what Sarri could do with Kante if he works with him for a second and for a 3rd season. Kante's world class because he's a football player. He's not world class because he can win a few tackles. Just to end things, all I'm saying is it's going to be quite exciting to see how Kante develops in the future. And as I guessed, I'm getting a lot of Michael Essien vibes from Kante. But anyway, you guys, I'm going to keep things moving. Thank you for watching. As I said, smash that like button. Help me get more than 1,000 likes. I'm EFC. This is Blue Lions TV. I'll see you guys tomorrow for more videos.